Howdy folks, I'm Keith Bowen. This is Hard Rock University, and we've been working on this problem of where's the gold going, why aren't we getting it out of the resin issue. And we think we've identified what caused the problem, although we're not sure exactly how it happens. But we assumed that the problem might be that the gold was being affected by the drying process of the resin. It made sense to dry the resin before you smelt it, and so we did, and the easiest way is put it in an oven at a modest temperature. And what the heck? What should that cause? Well, apparently it causes quite a lot. So I had to go to the stage 3 resin, which is the only stuff that wasn't dry yet. And these bead sizes are adjusted for the fact that as you dry the resin, the amount of water changes. So say these are adjusted bead sizes, but nevertheless, this is, and I've kind of enhanced this, the wet resin. 25 grams of resin gives you about 0.273 grams of gold in the bead. If you just dry it at room temperature, which loses 30% of the weight, you get 0.263 grams. So just a minor variation. Could in fact be just sample variation. But as soon as you go to heating it, even at 145 degrees, the recovery drops like a rock. 250, 400 degrees. So something's happening here. Now, we're thinking, one, it might be evaporating, but how the hell's gold going to evaporate at 250, or I mean even 150 degrees? That'd have to be an awfully volatile complex to do that. So, the other possibility is something's happening to the resin that's encapsulating the gold, making it much more difficult to get out. Now, if we took this dried resin here, and then baked it at 400 degrees, there's a substantial improvement in the recovery. So again, if we've kind of stabilized the resin at this temperature physically, that would make some sense. Another thing we did was we added some potassium nitrate and fluorite to produce a more stronger oxidizing environment, and we got a substantial improvement. Now, if the gold wasn't there, if it had evaporated, how could we improve the recovery? So that looks like something's happening to the resin. We got more research to do to try and fix the problem in the stuff we've already dried. But the simplest thing is simply don't use any temperature when drying the resin, or you can just flux straight from wet. Seems to work the best. But that seems to be our problem. And now I'm going to show you basically the process we're using, and so you can see what we're doing. And one thing is, at one point you'll see a crucible with little pinpoints of light coming up to the surface and then popping. I think those are resin beads that are very, very hot. I mean, that's 1900 degrees, but they still haven't decomposed. To me, that means it's like carbon or something. As soon as it gets to the top, it pops, and that would be like carbon igniting when it hits oxygen. So that may be the issue. We'll do some more research and try and figure that out. But right now, the problem is simple. Don't oven dry your resin before you flux it.
Okay.
So I've now cooled it down below the 700 degrees. What we do? This is the next charge, wet stage 3 resin. I don't expect that to stay there.
Oh, ye of little faith. You don't think the Sharpie marker will survive the furnace?
I don't think even a carbon residue would. Oh, here. Feeling rising to the top and then popping.
Yeah. I think I got a good shot.
Let's go ahead, pull out our lead button, see how that worked.
It likes to stick on there, that slag does, doesn't it?
It can. That's pretty clean. So we're now ready to keep pelling that. So there's the lead. It's called driving. And it's oxidizing and running off to the sides there. There we go. I have no idea whether that's going to be in focus or not. I seriously doubt it. Parting is when you take a bead, mash it flat, and then dissolve the silver out of it in hot nitric acid. Now this is the exhaust hood that Lauren's been working on, and pretty nice but incomplete, but on the other hand it should do what we need today. And this is just a crock pot with sand in it. Has a nice gentle heater. Makes perfect sense to me. So we're going to let that do its little thing and come back later and weigh the beads. And there's the parted bead. That's what you like to have, a solid chunk. And here's the gold we've recovered so far during testing. Happy prospecting and keep it safe out there.